let's say your belly looks like this right now, and you want it to look like this. There's two ways you can go about it. You can do a bunch of ab exercises, go on runs, eat chicken breast, do all the hard stuff that will make you want to quit and still only maybe get there. Or you can do it the lazy way, where you do virtually no ab exercises, no runs, eat what you like, and still get abs. It is possible. In fact, the lazy way is the right way. Let me show you how you can get abs in the laziest way possible. So you've probably seen abs on a skinny guy, but you and I can agree that getting skinny is not going to be that easy. As lazy guys that don't want to do all this crazy hard work but still wants a six-pack, becoming skinny is just not a good option. The other side is the huge bulky gym bro who's been training for 10 to 20 years, and he's maybe had some substances on the side to help him along, and he has abs that show through the fat. That's gonna take decades of hard work. We don't want to do none of that. But you still want abs, right? You still want to go to the beach this summer, take your shirt off with confidence, not have the best body in the world, but still have the confidence to take it off because you've got solid aesthetic abs. Not too skinny, not bulky like a gym bro, but just that right look. That's what we're going to get into, and that is exactly the first point. You got to combine some elements of the skinny guy. In other words, you got to get lean, and you got to take the strength and the muscle building from the gym bro, combine it, and by doing this hybrid approach, you can build abs in the laziest way. So the key is building muscle in the core while at the same time losing fat. That's exactly what this video is going to show you how to do in the laziest way. So you're not doing crunches, sit-ups, ab wheels, Russian twists, all these things that leave you burning like hell here. So you think you're getting abs, except you never see them. And the best you get is a 2-pack or a 4-pack. So combine the skinny and the gym bro to find that middle ground. Next, so you might be thinking, okay, Wanhee, you're not going to tell me to do any ab exercises. So how do I actually get a good core? Well, here's a secret that's going to blow your mind. Every exercise is an ab exercise if done in the right way. You've seen those martial arts videos where the guy has to punch another guy in the stomach, and the guy getting punched has to tense the hell out of his core, hold his breath just so that he doesn't get winded and absolutely destroyed. Well, that's called bracing. You're tightening your core and activating your abs as a protective layer to make your body strong and balanced. Now, when you do any exercise in the gym, or even with bodyweight training, if you do the same thing and you know how to tense your core, you know how to brace, you know how to engage your abs for stabilization, even the simplest push-ups, chin-ups, bench press, squats, all of these will activate your abs and therefore train your abs. And mind you, train them with a weight that is much heavier than if you were doing crunches, ab wheels, and bloody Russian twists. I'm not saying never do these exercises. We'll get onto their place in a bit, but you have to understand this. This is the lazy way, because if you can hit your abs with every exercise, you're essentially training your abs all the time, and that's how you get really, really strong abs, aesthetic abs, and build abs without actually training abs. You kill 3 birds with 1 stone. Next, now right about now, some of you that have some training experience might be thinking, what are you on about, Wanhee? When I do this exercise, it doesn't tense my abs, it doesn't work my abs at all. What are you talking about? Every exercise has to be an ab exercise. Now, you'd be partly right, and that's why I'm going to give you a tier of the exercises that really, really engage your abs, and you have to engage your abs, and we're going to go down the tier to exercises that don't really require abs. I mean, you can tense them, but it's not a big requirement. First distinction that you got to make is between standing and seated exercises. Immediately, when you have more of your body attached to the ground, attached to equipment that's fixed on the ground, your body requires less stabilization, so less ab activation. So standing exercises will, most of the time, activate your abs more than seated ones. So for instance, an overhead press with a barbell, if you've done this with serious weight, there is no chance in hell you're going to be able to do that without your core, your abs, and even your lower back and your glutes being ultra tight. Now, do the same exercise as a seated shoulder press with dumbbells. You're going to get ab stabilization, don't get me wrong, but not as much as the standing. So the standing beats seated. Another distinction is between free weights and machines. Again, when you do machines, most of the thing is fixed to the ground. The machine is fixed to the ground, and the movement of the bar, the cable, whatever you're using, is relatively fixed. There's no stabilization left to right, front to back, because the machine decides, the Smith machine, the cable machine decides how the weight will move. Now, if you do free weights, you have to stabilize left to right. You have to make sure you're not going to get choked by the bar yourself. So all of this will make you use your abs more. With the same reasoning, that's why an inclined bench press with barbells or dumbbells will engage your abs much more as a free weight than if you were to do the same exercise on a Smith machine. This is why chin-ups done in a proper chin-up station is going to activate your abs more than a lat pull down, which is seated and it's machines. The third one, this is the most important distinction, and it's the distinction between compound exercises and isolation exercises. Compound exercises are big badass exercises where you move heavy weight, where you use multiple muscle groups and joints at the same time. Now, when you do that kind of exercise, you just have to tense your abs because you're using pretty much your whole body. Even when you do chin-ups, in order to not have these flaily energy leaks where you're swaying side to side, you have to tighten your core like a gymnast would so that you go up like a whole unit. Understand that compound exercises will always activate your abs more than isolation exercises like your standard tricep push down, your standard bicep curls, where, to be honest, you don't need to balance that much. It's small weights, it's easy, and you're just going at it. Once you understand this distinction, that standing is better than seated for ab activation, free weights are better than machines for ab activation, and compounds are better than isolation, you can play around with these principles to design a routine that's gonna activate your abs more than less. Now, if you wanted my routine that thought about all of this and incorporates this while actually making you consistent and while building that V-taper aesthetic body that looks good on the beach with abs, then you can grab Aesthetic Body Blueprint down below. Next, I want to ask you, when you see abs on an athlete, think a soccer player, a UFC fighter, a swimmer, a climber, a gymnast, have you actually seen them do ab-specific training? Maybe you have sometimes, but most of the time, when you see them doing training, they'll be doing the exercises we just talked about, standing exercises, free weight exercises, and compound exercises most of the time. But why do they have such great abs, these athletes? Because abs are essentially, like we said, about balance and stabilization, and this is required all the time when you do sports. When you talk about soccer or UFC or jiu-jitsu, sports that I personally really like, when you do them, you realize your core is working the whole time. In the case of football, when you have a weak core, you just get pushed off the ball so easily. And this is why a lot of football players will be doing squats to activate that core. They're not doing ab wheels, they're doing squats. When you see basketball players where there's a lot of pushing and pulling, they need a strong core. And what do you see basketball players doing? Squats, standing, free weight, compound exercises. This is the lazy way. You're doing the exercises that build other parts of your body, and you're doing sports, and at the same time, as a byproduct, you're getting the ab training that you need. Another component that you see in a lot of athletes is unilateral exercises, where you do single leg exercises, single arm exercises. You're going to see this a lot because in sport, you have to move with single legs a lot of the time and balance. And again, what does that do? You're going to activate your abs and your obliques for balance. What does that mean for you that wants to train abs in the laziest way? You don't want to do all the ab exercises, eat chicken breasts and do crunches all the time. Incorporate sports and unilateral exercises into your life, and this is a way to get abs in the lazy way, because you're getting it as a byproduct of what you already do and enjoy. Next, you might be thinking, so are you telling me you don't do any ab exercises? I've seen some workouts where you do one or two. You're right. They're the 20%. What we just talked about is the 80%, and the icing on the cake, the little bit of extra little definition that you want, but it is the minor thing. And the two best exercises for abs, in my opinion, because they work multiple things, not just the abs, is the hanging leg raise and the weighted knee raise. These two exercises, they're same in principle. When you bring your lower body up to your chest, you're activating your abs. But these two exercises also really load up the hip flexor, which is one of the most important muscles in the human body for posture, for back health, for athleticism, for functionality. But we're not going to get into the importance of the hip flexor. Just incorporate weighted knee raises and hanging leg raises to the end of your routine, and this will be enough. This is just the laziest way. You just do 3 sets on the end of your workout of one of these exercises. How easy is that? It literally takes 3 minutes. You're done. And you're doing your other workout that you would do for your upper body, your lower body, your chest, your back, and your abs are done. That is the lazy way. You do it in a way where it's already hit by the way you train, by the exercises you select, and by these very lazy, cheeky exercises that you attach on the end of a workout. Next, all these guys that are saying, oh, abs are made in the kitchen. It's of course important what you eat. If you're a fat guy with a ton of fat, you're not going to see your abs. But as I always tell everybody that I help and coach, training is step 1. It's not the diet. If you want abs in that lazy way, where you have enough definition, but you actually eat what you want, you actually don't have to go on runs, you actually don't have to do all these crazy exercises, you need to train in the ways that we described so that the abs can show through even if you have a little bit of fat. Otherwise, you're going to have to live miserable, eat chicken breast and salad every day, drink egg whites like all these freaking gym bros just to get abs, and then you'll just end up super skinny and it doesn't even look good. You have to train, and that is step 1. 80% is in the training. It's not in the bloody kitchen. But for all of you thinking, oh, it's in the kitchen does matter, the diet does matter. So let me just get into that a little bit. What you have to do essentially is lose fat and get leaner, which means eat at a caloric deficit sustainably and consistently until you see your abs while doing the things that we just talked about. Now, I'm not going to go super deep into exactly how to get lean. I actually made an entire video called The Laziest Way to Get Lean. If you like this and you want to get lean in that lazy way where you're not grinding up chicken breast, eating salad all the time, you can go check out that video next. But essentially, it comes down to eating at a calorie deficit and walking 10K steps consistently. Next, you probably have a number, a weight on the scale that you think is gonna be the weight at which you see your abs. You're gonna have to subtract another 5 to 10 pounds from that to really get abs. As a natural person that doesn't use all these performance enhancing drugs, you're gonna have to get to a weight that you probably never really reached before while doing this training to truly get the 6 or the 8 pack. Otherwise, you're going to be stuck with that kind of 2-pack, 4-pack action, and you'll always be complaining about how your bottom layer of belly fat, that lower belly fat, is never going away. No, there's no specific exercise that's going to target that lower belly fat. It's just you getting leaner to a point where you feel like, oh my God, my face is changing. And people start saying, hey man, are you eating all right? Are you starving? Are you feeling okay? Because your face is super hollow. You're going to have to withstand a bit of that to finally get to the 6-pack. Now, if you want to do this entire process and actually get lean with me over the next few months, have me guide you not just on the training, but on the diet so you can finally become consistent, then you can join my coaching program. I'll leave a link for that below as well. If you like this video, subscribe, let me know in the comments below, and I hope you get abs this summer. See you next week.